Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
And good morning, frenemies. How are we all doing this Monday, November 4th, 2024? The snow is a-falling, and the sports are a-calling. Okay, I know it's a tumultuous time right now. We do have sports to fall back on, and pretty exciting weekend of sports it was. And we're going to start with the biggest event of the weekend, the Denver Broncos. We love the Denver Broncos, don't we? The Denver Broncos, 5-3. Going to play the Baltimore Ravens, who are also 5-3. Both teams started off 0-2, okay? Both teams won 5 of their last 6 to end up at 5-3, setting up a contest in the AFC that could be, right? Could be a preview of the AFC Championship game, right? Right, guys? Wrong. Last week was Victory Monday when I was sitting here in front of you guys wearing my Broncos orange. Today I'm wearing black, okay? And I'm wearing a blue beanie with a reservoir tip, beep, because the Broncos lost 41-10 to the Baltimore Ravens. And that guy right there, Lamar Jackson, the reigning MVP, okay, in the NFL. Lamar Jackson is the reigning MVP for a reason. We saw that yesterday. All Broncos fans who watched that game said, oh my God, this guy is fucking good, okay? He's very good, and we made it very easy on him. I kind of want to break down this game with you guys a little bit so we understand how things got so out of hand. Because when you look at this 41-10 final score, easy to think the Broncos got absolutely mollywopped the entire game, and that's actually not the case. There was a moment there in the first half where the Broncos had the opportunity to hold on, to stay in the game, and they let it slip. And there are a lot of fingerprints on that slipping. And I want to break it down a little bit here because football, you know, a lot of times we go back and we look at a game and we look at the highlights. You're watching Red Zone, right? And you see the touchdown. You're like, oh, man, he shouldn't have made that play, or he shouldn't have done that thing, or, oh, what a play. Wow, that really changed the game. But really, to understand a game, you have to start from the beginning and watch every single play. Every single play is a link in the chain, and the chain ends up being the game. And each link is important. Each play leads to the next. The Denver Broncos were going into the Ravens' backyard after the Ravens lost to the Browns last week in a division game in which they lost to Jameis Winston and the lowly Browns, and that was embarrassing for them. They came home with a lot at stake and obviously very upset by the loss. So the Broncos were walking into a buzzsaw, and they knew it. The Baltimore Ravens, the best offense in the league, 450 yards of offense a game, one of the top scoring offenses in the game, the reigning MVP, Derrick Henry, who's a freaking avatar beast. There he is. Try tackling him. How would you feel the next day? Not good. Not good, okay? This guy doesn't eat until like 4 p.m. every day, and he looks like that. What does he eat? What does he eat from 4 p.m. until he stops fucking eating to look like that? You kidding me? But he's vegan. He also doesn't eat meat. What the fuck are you eating, Derek, to look like that, not eat meat, and not eat until 4 o'clock? Genetics are a motherfucker, as they say. But this guy was not going to make it easy on the Denver Broncos. And so if the Denver Broncos wanted to come out and win this game, they had to go blow for blow with this guy and Lamar Jackson right off the bat. And that guy, too, Zay Flowers, ended up having a day. What a day for Zay. Hey, what do you say? Not cool. But I digress. I want to get into just the very beginning of this game. So the Ravens were favored by 9.5 points, which is a slap in the face for any professional football team that actually has a winning record. The Broncos, 5-3, were favored by double digits last week against the Panthers, and then they go on the road and they're underdogs by almost as much. What the fuck is that about, huh? You don't respect us? You don't think we can hang with the big boys? We're going to show you. We're going to show you. That's our extra motivation. And I guarantee you, Sean Payton talked about how nobody believes in us. They think we suck. They think we're going to go there and get our ass kicked. And so guess what? Relative to the game plan, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to go down there and attack. That was the game plan, be aggressive. But guess what, coach? There's a difference between being aggressive and being fucking stupid. And the Broncos were teetering on the precipice of being fucking stupid. And I'm going to go over that right now. So you're underdog by 9.5 points. You know you're going to have to score points to win this game, okay? Your defense has been playing very well. Maybe the best defense in the NFL. Maybe. Up until yesterday, considered the best defense in the NFL. That's going to change, okay? They're going to go back to the drawing board and figure it out. But there's no way these guys, this coaching staff, thought that they'd be able to hold the Ravens to 10 points like they were able to do with some other teams. They knew they were going to have to score. That was obvious, okay? By the way the game was called by this fella right here, Sean Payton, who was coaching across from John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh, the same exact number of career wins. They threw it up on the screen during the game. There he is right there with, I think, 164. The same number of coaching seasons, 17, and the same number of Super Bowl victories, 1. Both of those guys, incredibly accomplished coaches. The difference is the fella on the right there, John Harbaugh, has been in the same spot for 17 years, has his system in place, and has his team playing at a very high level with players he's been nursing and curating and developing for years. The other guy, the guy on the left, our guy, Sean Payton, is at the very beginning of a rebuild with this team, okay? They respect each other, that's clear. Sean Payton knew that he was probably outmatched in this game and was going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat to keep pace with this very dynamic offense. And so mistakes have to be limited. Turnovers have to be limited, okay? They will pounce on you if you make any mistakes, but not just on the field, but on the sideline, calling plays as well. And I'm going to get into those mistakes that I think Sean Payton made, okay? And, of course, it's easy to judge this stuff after the fact and be a Monday morning quarterback, but that's what this industry is all about, talking shit with none of the consequences, right? I digress. A little sip of coffee here. A little daylight saving time hangover, a little candy hangover, a little, I got a 4-year-old kid. When do you stop giving the kid candy? When do you take the candy away? Because they go trick-or-treating for an hour and a half. They got a freaking tub of candy. When do you take it away? Now, my wife heard of something called the switch witch, where one night you take the kid's candy and then you leave money for him. I'm not paying my fucking kid for candy. What's he going to do with $20 or $10 or $5? He's 4 years old. What's he going to do with money? Anyway, it's a rough morning. I've been up since 4. Got a newborn as well. Most precious little angel that God's ever created. Keeping me awake. But I digress. Yeah, you want to hit that one? Throw it up there. I really like Bo a lot. No way he was going in there with that team and beating the Baltimore Ravens. The defense will respond in Kansas City. All right. The Patient, 1991. You think that they will respond in Kansas City? Do you think they're going to win in Kansas City? Is that what you mean? Or the defense is going to play better? I agree the defense will play better, partly because the Chiefs' offense isn't as dynamic as the Ravens. The thing the Chiefs do is just they figure out how to win. They're really good at just winning, making the right play at the right time. The Chiefs are 13th in the NFL in scoring, and they're the only undefeated team. How the fuck does that work? It works that way because they are a team. The Broncos are going into Guerilla Stadium. Yes, they've renamed it Guerilla, but we're going to get into that matchup as we go. I do want to break down this matchup because it's important to understand, like I was saying, the links in the chain and how one bad play can get it going in the wrong direction, especially against a team like the Ravens that are so damn good, okay? So, second play of the game. Okay, the Broncos, the Ravens win the toss, elect to defer to the second half, which most coaches do. They defer to the second half means when you defer, it means you're giving the other coach the choice whether to take the ball or kick off in the first half. And obviously, they take the ball because you're deferring your choice to the second half. Every once in a while, you get an idiot coach who doesn't understand that rule, usually in high school or something, and I'll defer. I'll win the toss, and I'll defer, and he'll say, we want to kick. All right, go ahead and kick. Because in the second half, I get to choose what I want, and I want the ball. That means you kicked off both halves, idiot. So when you defer, you got to take the ball. If he defers, I take the ball. That's what happened. Sean Payton took the ball. Broncos offense takes the field, and they realize there's not a lot of room or margin for error here. And what happens after a 1-yard run on the first play, the second play of the game, a little crossing route, or maybe it's a little quick out to LJ Humphrey, goes off his hands, pops up in the air, tip drill, interception. That's how the game started. Tip drill, interception. That's how the game started. We cannot afford that against a team like this. But whatever, shit happens. The defense is ready. They go on the field. And guess what the defense did? We're probably going to forget this because of the way it ended, but the defense actually stepped up and forced a punt. The defense for the Denver Broncos forced a punt. And let me see the specifics of that drive. It was a 3-play, -6 yards. And they forced a punt. That was Lamar Jackson getting sacked. The only sack of the day. The only sack of the day of Lamar Jackson was right there, and it was a loss of 11 yards, and they forced a punt from the 44-yard line, okay? So, anyways, the Broncos get the ball back, and it's still 0-0. So this game is still in hand, right? Well, the Broncos then go on an 11-play drive, moving the ball right down the field. And this is something the Broncos were able to do with ease most of the first half. They looked really good offensively, moving the ball down the field. And then it comes up in 4th and 1 on the Baltimore 44. Now, this is where Sean Payton's game philosophy kind of showed itself. And I agree. You got to be aggressive. We need to score, right? And I don't have a problem with going for it on 4th and 1 from the Baltimore 44. The 44 is kind of no man's land. You don't really want to punt it. You don't really want to kick a field goal. Anywhere kind of between the 40 and the 50-yard line of your opposition is sort of go for it territory. So, yeah, let's go for it. But let's not do a counter pitch to Javonte, who's 8 yards deep and has to run all the way to the sideline to get that thing. It looked like he got it. He ended up coming up short. Turnover on downs. That's their first 4th down that they missed of the day. There would be more. Baltimore takes over and pushes the knife in to the Broncos defense. Of course, you can't hold up against the best offense on the planet for very long. Baltimore takes over, like I said, and moves the ball down the field, and a Derrick Henry touchdown follows. Again, since the game was at 11, this guy hadn't even fucking eaten yet. He had the day he had yesterday without even fucking eating. Imagine what he'd be like if he ate. Derrick Henry would end up with 23 carries for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns on the Denver Broncos defense that has been pretty stout against both the run and the pass. And so, anyway, the Baltimore Ravens move the ball down the field, score that touchdown, and now it's up to the Broncos to respond. Sorry, the Ravens moved the ball down the field to score that touchdown. Now it's up to the Broncos to respond. Okay? And they did. They marched down the field once again. And once again, it brings up 4th down. But now you're on the 33-yard line. 4th and 4 on the 33-yard line. Now, we're going to be aggressive relative to this game. We got to score points relative to the game. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to be aggressive. You tell yourself that enough times, you start to not do the smart football thing, coach. Because Will Lutz could kick a 51-yard field goal in his fucking sleep. These NFL kickers, 50 yards ain't what it used to be. These guys have the leg to absolutely dial in 50-yarders like it's nothing, okay? If you're on the 33-yard line and you're kicking a field goal, that's a 51-yard field goal. 51 yards, Will Lutz can do it in his sleep. When's the last time you saw Will Lutz try a 50-plus yard field goal, guys? For some reason, Sean Payton doesn't like doing that. And I don't know why, especially here at home. This is the best place ever to be a kicker. The air is thin. You can kick the fucking ball a mile. There's a reason why Jason Elam kicked a 63-yarder here. There's a reason why Matt Prater kicked a 64-yarder, and there's a reason why Brandon McManus kicked all these long field goals. This is the best place in the world to kick. Now, I know they were in Baltimore, but 51 yards is a fucking chip shot for these guys. A chip shot. 4th and 4. Instead, what does the genius do relative to the game? He uncorks a deep ball down the left sideline to one Troy Franklin, who, as much as I like him, has not had a good track record bringing in that deep ball down the left sideline yet. In fact, I think he's over a lot on that. You don't need to take that risk in that moment, guys. You need to kick that field goal and put points on the board. And instead, they come out with another goose egg. That's 2 drives where you're moving the ball, 2 fourth downs, not converted, 0 points on the board. Baltimore gets the ball back, leads them on another drive, and scores a field goal. All right? Now, what ensued, this was 10-0 at this time, and what ensued was the highlight of the day for the Denver Broncos. They got the ball, moved down the field, and were able to, on an 11-play drive, 70 yards, score a touchdown in a most improbable way. The Philly special. You guys have heard of the Philly special. Quarterback hands the ball off and kind of loops around there to the right. The running back tosses it to the receiver who's doing the reverse, and he throws a dime towards the front pylon to the quarterback in the end zone. You see that play right there. Bo Nix making a very athletic play for a quarterback to do that right there, an underthrown ball. It was a good ball. I'm not on Cortland about that. It was a great fucking throw. He had pressure in his face. Cortland throws it. Yeah, gets hit. Receivers can all throw, by the way. All receivers have almost quarterback-like arms, because what happens every time you run down the field and you catch a ball in practice? Well, you got to throw it back. These guys throw every time they catch, and they catch a lot, so they throw a lot. These guys throw very well, obviously some better than others, but Cortland Sutton has a good arm. They decided to use it. Why do they call it the Philly special? It's because what the Philadelphia Eagles used in the Super Bowl, Nick Foles, Philadelphia hero, caught that touchdown in the Super Bowl. Doug Peterson, the coach at the time, not going so well for old Dougie right now in Jacksonville, but it did go well for him in Philly. The Philly special was a play that a lot of teams now use. It's smart. It's effective. If you have an athletic quarterback and you got a receiver who can throw and you got a horny defense, it'll work like it did with Bo Nix. The highlight of the day, Bo Nix catches a touchdown from Cortland Sutton, and then we all believed, you're telling me there's a chance. You're telling me there's a chance, because the Broncos just came within 3. Well, they didn't come. They pulled within 3, 10-7. So now is when your defense has to respond, because we need to stiffen up. Another penis metaphor for you there. We need to stiffen up, guys. Why? Because we need all the help we can get. If they score on every drive and we keep doing what we're doing here, we're going to feel this slip away. The defense was not able to stiffen up, in desperate need of Viagra. Zay Flowers, well, scores another touchdown. Well, this was his first one. I'm sorry. His first touchdown. 7-yarder to Zay Flowers. And now it's a 17-7 game. Okay. So moving through here, this is where the game got out of reach. And I'm not going to go play-by-play on the whole entire game. I'm going to move through this here. But this next drive by the Broncos was, to me, the turning point in the game. And it's where Sean Payton is going to have to go back and take a look at himself in the mirror and realize what he did to affect the flow of the game, okay? So the Broncos get the ball back here, down 17-7 with 3 minutes and 47 seconds on the clock, okay? So you know how fast and how easily this offense of the Ravens can score. You don't want to give them the ball back with any time on the clock, okay? Obviously, you're trying to pick up first downs and move the ball. But once the Broncos were able to get onto the Baltimore 23-yard line with 2 minutes to go, you realize that you have the ability to milk the clock while also scoring. But the Broncos didn't do that, and it's largely because of the plays that Sean Payton called. With a minute and... It just makes me mad because, you know, the Broncos end up having 1st and 10 on the Baltimore 12 with a minute and 20 seconds left after the Baltimore Ravens called a timeout. Minute and 20 seconds left on the 12. They're trying to preserve enough time to move the ball down the field and score again. Okay, and this guy knows better. He knows that they're trying to do that. You want to make them use their timeouts, okay? And instead of making them use their timeouts, They went shotgun, threw a ball to the left to Jaleel McLaughlin, and he gets pushed out of bounds for only 3 yards, and the clock stops. The clock stops with 1:14 left, 2nd and 7 at the Baltimore 9. Michael Burton goes up the middle for no gain. They call their second timeout. 3rd and 7 at the Baltimore 9. You have 1 minute and 10 seconds left. There should be a lot less time left on the clock. Bo Nix scrambled left for 9 yards. Touchdown nullified by a penalty. Offensive holding comes back. 3rd and 17 now from the Baltimore 19. Another incomplete pass to Troy Franklin down the left sideline. And they have to settle for a field goal with 54 seconds left on the clock. 54 seconds left on the clock. So now the game is 17-10, but they leave them enough time. Actually, it only took them 38 seconds and 2 plays. Zay Flowers, touchdown. 53 yards. Dagger in the heart. 24-10 going into halftime. You come out of the second quarter, second half. They get the ball back, like I talked about, because they deferred. They march down 11 plays, touchdown, and that's your ball game. 31-10 at that point. And they basically called off the dogs after that. We're able to lean in with Derrick Henry. And then after that, the Broncos offense just started pissing down their legs. Weren't able to do anything after that. All the momentum of the first half was lost. And that's how things can happen. The Broncos actually looked like they could play with them, or at least move the ball with them in the first half. But all those failed 4th downs, all those mismanaged moments meant that you're down 21 points to the best team, the best offense in the NFL. And obviously the Broncos lacked confidence after that and weren't able to get back on track. The game ended up being 41-10, a laugher. Ravens were able to cover by quite a bit. And the Broncos have to come home and lick their wounds and figure out who they really are. Oh, what did they learn? What have the Broncos learned from this game? If you want to chime in and let me know what you think the Broncos learned. What did we learn about the Broncos yesterday against the Ravens? If you have any comments, I'll throw them up there. To me, that the Broncos need to be better tacklers in those moments. I can't blame this all on Vance Joseph. These guys were in the right positions. They have to tackle. Obviously, Derrick Henry's a freak. He is a freak. Okay, you're not going to play him every day. But the Broncos tackling has to be better in those moments. Adrian Long says, is it possible that the lack of weapons could hold back Bo Nix's development? You know, I don't really think that's the case. I think that this year, you know, I think if the conversation was still the same 2 or 3 or 4 years from now, we'd say, yes, we need to get him more guys. But right now, what I want to know is who we have in this receiver room that we can trust and rely on. Devon Vele, is he going to be a guy? Marvin Mims, can he be a guy? Troy Franklin, can he be a guy? We know who Cortland Sutton is, and he showed up yesterday. Props to Cortland Sutton. Throw him up there. Jay, just coming with graphics. Cortland Sutton had a really good game, continues to play at a high level. To me, he's your best player on offense right now, and he's playing like it. Cortland Sutton had 7 for 122 yards, responding really well to his 100-yard game last week. That's 2 consecutive 100-yard games for Cortland Sutton. But when you talk about the weapons on the field, I want to see what these guys can be when they get on the same page, when they understand Sean Payton's offense, when Bo starts understanding their catch radius, they start understanding each other on the field. That takes repetitions. It doesn't just happen overnight. That's why when I hear people talk about trading for a weapon to come in and lead us to the playoffs, no. You don't come in the middle of the season and lead a team to the playoffs, in my opinion. It takes a while to learn the offense and learn your quarterback, and this is a rookie quarterback. Let's learn who we have here now. We were 5-3. We're 5-4. It's a winning record these Broncos have with a very young and experienced team. Let's keep going with this team and figure out after the season's over what holes we have to fill. I think Bo Nix's development will be aided by learning with these young players. Javonte Williams, 12 carries for 42 yards, a long 7. Not good enough. Bo Nix, 19 of 33, 223 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. Not good enough. Cortland Sutton, 7 for 122. Great game by Cortland. Everyone else on offense, no one else really showed up. Didn't use the tight ends at all. Lil Jordan Humphrey, 2 for 11, but had that moment that really hurt the team right off the bat. Troy Franklin had 4 targets, but only 1 catch. These are things they need to work on, right? Tight ends really not targeted at all. Adam Troutman, 1 catch for 4 yards, and that was it. So this offense, I think Sean Payton needs to help these guys a little more than he did yesterday. And I think he's going to stand up in front of the team today and tell them as much. He didn't help them yesterday, okay? He was too aggressive. There is a point at which the idea of being aggressive hurts you. You remember the Chargers under Brandon Staley. There's a reason why Brandon Staley was fired. It's because he took too many unnecessary risks. To me, that's what Sean Payton did yesterday and didn't manage the game effectively. Would they have probably lost that game to the Baltimore Ravens? Probably. We might have just seen the Super Bowl champions in the Baltimore Ravens yesterday. They are a very, very good football team that might be destined at least for another AFC championship game. And it was a great litmus test for the Broncos to understand where they are. Now they can come home, watch the film, lick their wounds, and move on. Like our commenter said earlier, we got the Chiefs coming this Sunday. So let's be sad about it today. Let's watch the film. And then tomorrow we move on. Wednesday we come back to work ready to focus on the Chiefs. That's the beautiful thing about the NFL. There's always next week. Interesting week in the NFL. The Chargers ended up winning, so they're ahead of the Broncos on the standings now. The Raiders lost. They continue to suck. And the Chiefs play tonight against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That'll be interesting to see. Any other games of note that we should talk about? Not really. It wasn't in my opinion, the most exciting weekend of NFL action. Falcons beat the Cowboys 27-21. The Bills beat the Dolphins with Tua returning 30-27. That was a pretty exciting game. The Bengals did smack up the Raiders 41-24. Chargers did smack down the Browns 27-10. Titans Patriots, who cares, right? But the Titans won 20-17 there. Commanders continue to kick ass 7-2, beat the Giants 27-22. The Panthers, the lowly Panthers, beat the even lowlier somehow Saints 23-22. Both of those teams were stomped by the Denver Broncos. We know what happened with the Ravens and the Broncos. The Eagles beat the Jags 28-23. The Cardinals beat up on the Bears pretty good, 29-9. And maybe the most exciting game or the most interesting game, the Lions went to Green Bay and beat the Packers 24-14. You got to think the Lions are the front runners in the NFC. And, well, it just might be a Lions-Ravens Super Bowl. That would be good. As long as the Chiefs don't keep freaking winning, maybe they'll lose tonight. The Rams beat the Seahawks 26-20 in an NFC West matchup. And last night, the Vikings beat the Colts, captained by Joe Flacco after Anthony Richardson was benched. So that's what happened in the NFL this weekend. Before we get out of here, I want to touch on the Avs and the Nuggets. The Avalanche struggling right now, mostly because they're just having a hard time staying healthy. They have so many injuries. The Avs lost again to the Predators 5-2, gave up 3 goals in the third period. And really, the Avs are so decimated by injury right now that they're playing players who are merely decent players on the Eagles. And that's not a good position to be in when you're playing against the best in the world. So hopefully the Avs can get healthy. Arturi Lecky returns tomorrow against the Kraken in Seattle. So that's, Avs fans breathe a sigh of relief having Lecky back on the ice. But the Avs, in losing to the Predators, dropped to 5-7. Not the start they had hoped for. But there's a lot of season left. Okay, that's 12 games. And we got 70 more. Plenty of time to get this ship on the right path. And the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets on Saturday night improved to 3-3 after beating the winless Jazz 129-103. Nikola Jokic had 27 points, 16 rebounds, and 9 assists. 1 assist shy of a triple-double. But, he's going to be consistent. I think it's the players around him that need to play better and stay healthy. Jamal Murray in concussion protocol after banging heads with Julius Randle. So it's going to be Russell Westbrook who's starting in his place. And Russell Westbrook had a whopping 5 points on Saturday night. So Jamal, get better soon. But also, take care of your head. That's the hard part about being injured in sports, the pressure you feel from behind or from the needs of your team, or all these things are pushing you back on the court or the ice or the field when your head might be telling you don't do it yet. You're not ready. And so it really takes a patient and wise training staff to allow these players to really nurse themselves back to health when they actually are hurt. the difficulty with a brain injury, guys, is that your brain doesn't feel pain. You don't have nerve endings in your brain like you do on your arm, where if I pinch, ow, that hurts, or if I break my arm, ow, that hurts. If you get a concussion, it doesn't hurt. You just feel off. And if you feel better tomorrow, well, I guess I'm good to go, right? And then you pass concussion protocol. Get out there. We need you. And then you take another elbow to the head, and that's permanent damage. So, Jamal, I know you're listening. I know you're watching Guerilla Sports Daily. Take your time, buddy. Again, the same holds true to what I said about, plenty of hockey left to play, plenty of basketball. The Nuggets are only 3-3, okay? You got a lot of basketball left to play. The Nuggets know how to push towards the postseason. Jamal, take your time getting your head right. The rest of your teammates will hold it down. And we here at Guerilla Sports Daily will be holding it down every damn day for you guys. I know it's a crazy time of year. You're getting a lot of texts over some bullshit propositions and donations. It's about to end, thankfully. So have yourself a glass of whatever makes you feel good and sit back and close your eyes and turn your fucking phones off. At least we have sports. That's it for us at Guerilla Sports Daily. I'm Nate Jackson, Guerilla Sports. Talk to you later. Bye-bye now.